Bitcoin falls below $91,000 for the first time in a while. The markets are in an uproar. Yes, actually, the topic is just being overshadowed by Trump with the whole tariff issue. Now, there are 200% tariffs again on French wine, then new tariffs on the European Union, then some people didn't want to sign his deal. But I think the biggest thing simmering right now is the bond markets, and that's being very, very well concealed. And that's currently causing I'll just say, a bigger sell-off, not only in the crypto markets, but also in the stock markets. Today, the US is back again. Gold and silver are pumping like crazy. And we're definitely going in there now. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yes, in my opinion, the markets are really, really starting to come under pressure now. Ever since we formed our top in Bitcoin up here at around $98,000, right at the rising wedge, we've now found ourselves at the lower edge, or rather, now at the outside of our rising wedge. We're going to take a calm look at all of this. Now, we'll check where the liquidity is, what news is out there at the moment, because there really is quite a lot to discuss. And just to get ahead of things a bit, by the end of the video, no, the markets are not manipulated. No, it's not the market makers. We simply have geopolitical uncertainties. And just because things go the wrong way once, that doesn't mean there's market manipulation or anything like that going on again. Every market is manipulated in some way, but that's usually always the same excuse when things go down. But before we get started, as always, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're welcome to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, you can also do that with my partner, Eager Exchange BingX. Currently, there are up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses, and the New Year's event is still ongoing. There, you can also win cool prizes once you reach a certain trading volume. You can open these boxes and in the end, snag some nice prizes. All right, let's get started. So Bitcoin is currently dropping below the $91,000 mark as I'm recording this video. At least briefly, now we're back at 91,100 US dollars. The selling pressure is increasing. We can see it in the volume, and the RSI is now in the oversold area. We have a bullish divergence, which is the positive aspect. If we take a quick look at the news radar, basically, Trump is rule number one here. Trump floats a 200% champagne tariff on Macron's France. Very, very good. Trump wants his peace agreement signed in Davos. Macron declines. So as you can see, a lot of this is coming down to Macron versus Trump, and through Macron, of course, it also involves others. EU versus the USA, because apparently the EU also wants to impose tariffs. Or rather, individual countries, let's put it that way, because Friedrich Merz, our chancellor, has already said, yes, well, he agrees. I don't really believe that we'll actually impose tariffs. Yeah, once again, we're making a nice retreat. But Trump is going all the way with it right now. And the uncertainty in the markets is picking up more and more momentum. Treasuries drop, gold hits record on Trump tariffs. We're now seeing yields everywhere, really globally at first. Yeah, are heading toward new highs. And that's a very, very big concern for the stock markets. Let's take a quick look. The 2-year yields have been surging for a few days now. Then the 5-year is now at 3.845%, and the 10-year is now at 4.27%. That's as high as it hasn't been since September, and that's a big, big risk. And that's not the only risk. I just sent it to the Telegram group. Take a look at it. No, it's still not a shitcoin. These are the Japanese 30-year government bonds, which alone jumped up by 6.5% just yesterday. You can see all the gaps there. It looks like the biggest shitcoin, the worst currency, even though it's supposed to be a safe haven. This is a huge problem. The 20-year bonds are at 3.4%, the 10-year bonds at 2.337%. At their peak last night, they were at 2.35%. This is no longer normal. Japan wants to impose taxes, cutting taxes on food. Why are they doing that? I thought the economy was doing so well. No, apparently they're not doing well. On Friday, we have an interest rate decision in Japan. We have the US dollar, or rather the yen against the US dollar, which is now taking another little nosedive downwards. Guys, things are simmering everywhere. And that's the reason why even Bitcoin is now getting completely run over here. Take a look. Where do we have it? Here, the heat map. The heat map is practically swept clean. There's basically no liquidity at all in the last 7 days. 76.85. There's not even anything lighting up anymore on the 7-day view. That's a big problem. Let's move up one more time frame to the monthly chart. There should normally be a bit more there. Let's go in. We'll remove the small orders here again. Let's see. Okay, we've still got a little bit up here, and then the biggest chunk is at 76K. But even this order book is much, much more cleared out than it was some time ago. So it looks like we're about to get our big move. At the same time, we're seeing a bit more spot demand again, which could actually make us a little happy. But, and this is a big but, you can see over here that was yesterday around 9 to 10 p.m. Normally, when we see red in the prices, we get a little top area, but what we saw here was different. Prices dropped when we sold off. That means the order books are extremely empty and there's clearly more selling than buying. Now we're seeing another phase with at times 20 million in purchases, which are now starting to rise slightly again. But these still aren't the spikes we clearly want to see. That means the uncertainty in the markets is currently really, really high. Opening a long position here would basically be an option. I wouldn't even rule it out anymore. Simply because of this small bullish divergence we still have the vectors open above, which the market could still go for. What bothers me a bit more, though, about this whole thing is that we've already dropped below the Asia range again. These two blue lines plus our huge rising wedge, or rather, we've broken down out of our bear flag for now. Those are signs that we need to be cautious. And the US markets are only opening again today. I'd say we're playing with fire here, and the same thing applies if we look over at the altcoins. They don't really look any better either, so even in the 4-hour chart, they're still under a lot of pressure. At least to be fair, there's a small advantage here. The vectors have been filled at this point. That means at least there was a chance to catch some positive momentum to the upside. But for that to happen, we'd need some kind of positive news or something else to come out that would push the markets back up a bit. At the moment, I just consider waiting on the sidelines for a bit. With Bitcoin, I would definitely take at least 10% off the table from the short position and take some profit. We've waited long enough now, and that's good enough for this trade. Same thing with Solana. If you still haven't taken any profit except for sales at home, take profit. The wick is almost filled. It will probably get filled as well before we see some kind of new chart pattern or a recovery happens. But these vectors above us from yesterday, the market should still go after those somehow. According to Trump's playbook, we would actually now be in the phase of finding some kind of regulation so that Trump can backtrack a bit again. I just have this concern that with Greenland, this time he won't back down because it personally rubs him the wrong way. That's why the geopolitical uncertainties are just increasing extremely right now. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Gold, we're not getting a rate cut. Guys, once again, we're getting zero, nada, no rate cut, and gold is pumping. So what does that mean? There's only one reason. It's geopolitical uncertainty, whether it's Greenland, Iran, Israel, or whatever else. There are tensions everywhere in the world, whether it's because of Trump or anything else, but the whole world is basically shooting at each other right now. Tariffs everywhere. I want that country, we're attacking there. No, we're not attacking there after all. Hey, there's oil over there. That's geopolitical uncertainty, while the big players are slowly but surely preparing their shorts on gold. So something is going to happen. It doesn't have to happen today, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow, but something will happen. Silver too, a complete pump upwards. Silver just doesn't stop at the moment. These are simply the uncertainties that are currently present in the market. They continue to be priced in, and as long as this situation doesn't change or something escalates, which we certainly don't want, if an escalation were to happen, it would also affect the dollar on the one hand. The dollar, by the way, it's a strange sign that the yen and the dollar are somehow moving against each other. So the dollar is falling, the yen is falling, it doesn't really make sense, USD JPY, yet it's still pumping upwards again. Carry trade unwind, I'll say it again. Honestly, it can't last much longer. And the euro, it's pumping upwards. I actually decided against the long position. Yeah, in hindsight, it was a mistake. But, well, the whole thing that it's all starting up again so quickly now. With tariffs, I couldn't have known that either. But as you can see, we're in a complete risk-off party. This has nothing to do with market manipulation or anything like that. We are risk-off. That means precious metals, commodities, as far as I'm concerned, too. We can also take a quick look at that. Oil, because that's extremely important for Trump. Oh, even oil is holding relatively stable, but still, you know what I'm getting at? This is risk off and not market manipulation or anything else. Let's take a quick look at the traditional markets. The DAX closes with a huge gap. DAX short is running great. So if you're in, take profit, stop loss at entry, let it run. Dow Jones, red. NASDAQ, red for now. Futures as well. S&P 500, red. Bang, red for now. I'm curious to see how this will develop at the World Economic Forum now, whether there will be any solutions with everyone sitting together there, or if Trump is really starting to get serious here and takes the next step. Let's see, but in any case, all the futures are in the red. Tech, everything, the volatility index is slowly picking up again. You know, when it's high, buy. That basically means when it usually goes above 20 or even into the 30s, that would be the top. And up here we still have a blue bar, and that means an inefficiency, or rather a nice red vector candle that still needs to be filled. Keep an eye on the whole thing. I think today is going to be a very, very interesting day. At any moment, news could come out again. Hey, we found a solution. Now Greenland belongs to me. And the EU just has to pay an extra 100% in tariffs simply because we like the EU so much. No, you know what I mean? But there are really a lot of things going wrong at the moment. Really, a lot of things are going wrong. And saying a lot is even an understatement, but it just can't go on like this right now. Really, it can't. And Japan is still kind of the deciding factor. If anything happens there in terms of carry trade, and it will happen quickly, that US dollars are sold in order to ultimately strengthen their own currency again. Have fun. Then everything we're experiencing right now will seem like just a tiny blip in winter. And the big rally or big dump? The rally that follows will be very, very interesting. But all right, let's see what happens. Otherwise, I would say it's not market manipulation. I can repeat that 100%. Don't listen to such nonsense. And otherwise, I would say that's it from my side for now. Tonight at 7 p.m., you know what's up? It's Tuesday. Time for another live stream. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's see what happens by tonight. And otherwise, that's definitely it from my side. Thank you for watching. That's it from me. As always, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the Telegram group. And we'll talk again tonight, 7 p.m. Until then, ciao, ciao. And as always, stay crypto.